the harsh reality of that. Yeah, I've heard you say that before, and it's hard to deny that, isn't it? And part of what would seem very chaotic and challenging times in which we're living. These things been happening in this summer, and it's like, something else comes into the news agenda. The terrible thing that happened in Lisbon, the assassination of Charlie Kirk yesterday. It's very these are very overwhelming times, it would appear, and we have to do something like perhaps you did yesterday. I was talking to Eric and Gary last night on our Positive Echo podcast about digital pause, getting away from this overwhelming sense of what's going on in the world in a way that we've never been able to before. Is that what was behind what you're describing as sort of misanthropy and having to get away with your dogs and just spend a bit of time on your own in the countryside?
Well, it's been a few things recently. I made a video recently. I know a guy here in my group of friends who's very, very, for example, pro-Palestine. And like whatever your views are on that issue, most people I know who come down on one side or the other, or they appreciate it, they have a nuanced view or whatever. And this guy's like just mad about it and just wears the Palestine badge and all this sort of stuff. And it's just like, it's kind of like, God, can't we just be in central Portugal and get away from that? And then at the same time, I'm hearing like in the UK about this flag backlash. And then I heard about the Ukrainian girl in the US. And then what happened to Charlie Kirk. The weird thing about Charlie Kirk yesterday was I was literally having I had a lesson yesterday with one of my students, and he lives in Haifa. He's a Jewish kid. And we were actually talking about him. And that made me think about, this idea of synchronicity. I mean, I've never had a conversation with this kid that's had anything to do with politics. And he just happened to be saying about Charlie Kirk. And I'm like, and then afterwards, about an hour later, and I suppose it's possible that maybe one of us had heard something without registering. I don't know, this. But it was just so weird just a couple of hours later to hear about the assassination. And I've actually messaged his parents and said, listen, in our conversation yesterday, because it's a conversation lesson. And I said, listen, in our conversation yesterday, this guy, Charlie Kirk, came up, who's like a conservative commentator in the US, and he's been assassinated. So you might want to, I don't know, see how Owen's feeling about that, because for a kid to be sort of thinking about someone and then for them to be murdered like that. So I think that was it. There was a whole bunch of things. I mean, when I made that post yesterday, I don't even think I'd heard about Charlie Kirk yet, but a lot of other things were just playing on my mind. And I am just at a point at the moment where I am actually going to take a bit of time out from people, to be honest.
Well, and that's why I mention it. That's why that's why we're talking about it. And I understand, T-Duck's reaction here. Can't we just talk about Portugal? That is always my endeavor. That's what this show will be about. That this service will be about. Is about us having the best possible lives here in Portugal. I think we're united in thinking we've come to a good place. And what's the alternative as well? At the moment, it's a great place to be.
T-Duck, I 100% agree with you, and I think anyone who's watched my channel and also been following Carl will know that both of us have made a concerted effort to try and avoid these kind of topics, and that's what we're talking about now. I think that right now I'm not talking about like wanting to have a discussion about those non-Portuguese topics. I'm actually talking about the problem of trying to defend myself from topics that aren't Portugal. Do you know what I mean? So that I don't want to have a conversation about US politics or British politics or whatever. I'm just saying that as try as I might, every time I go out anywhere, or every time I look at the internet, or every time I do anything, it's like people are trying to make me think about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't want to think about those things.
Yeah, and there's a massive kind of irony paradox in all of that, isn't there? How do you stop thinking about something without thinking about it? And that's where we're at. That's why I think it's sort of noteworthy and worthy of discussion, because I don't want to have a news program full of awkward and difficult subjects that are hurtful or
Yeah,
upset.
it's annoying. It's annoying.
Yeah,
It's like I go out for Sunday lunch with my friends, and I've got one guy sitting there wearing a political badge. And it's
yes,
just like, why?
yeah,
We're in central Portugal, just having lunch together. Just fuck
right.
off. Yeah, sorry. Oops. Beep,
I'm,
beep off. Beep off. No,
I'm,
but
I'm,
really, I find it really annoying, and it's not. It's not that I have a view one way or the other.
yeah,
It's just that I don't want that here. You know what I mean? Like, if
yes,
I want to have a conversation with you about it, then let me have the freedom to do that. Like, but
yes.
don't bring it in. Don't bring that negative energy here. You know.
Well,
Like,
that for
we've
me,
got our own problems in Portugal, haven't we? Like, for example, the fires, or
well,
like
you
things
might
to.
say, yeah, yeah. Well,
We've got our
yeah,
own. We've got our own things to mourn, haven't we? Like what happened in Lisboa. You know what I mean?
and always. I mean,
Mm,
that's this is how life is, isn't it? And sufficient
mm,
unto the day is the evil thereof. My dad was no Christian really in that sense, in the sort of biblical sense, but he used to say that biblical line, and we do have enough to address in our own lives every day without the
yeah,
inundation. And if forgive us for being part of that inundation this morning, it would appear. But I think we're talking
yeah,
about it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we hadn't planned this, but I think I'm open to talking about it occasionally to look at
Mm,
how we manage it, and
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
you and I have talked about this a lot on when we used to do a show together, and
yeah,
to me, we're at this awful stage where people want to harm and hurt and even kill each other over
yeah,
ideas,
yeah, yeah,
flags and symbols and stuff. So given that would appear to be the case, how do we as individuals and a community and a collective manage that? And I do understand the urge to just like switch off, and not ever want to talk about it. I feel like that myself sometimes. And
mm,
it appears to me to be a sort of mental health issue of our time, a spiritual issue as well. I think it's perhaps the other side of what we're talking about is how we manage ourselves and how we are guardians of something that is good and right and true until everything calms down. Some people need to be saying, life is good and beautiful whilst these
yeah,
terrible things are happening as well. And I hope we're part of that as much as we might be veering into this territory from time to time as we have done this morning.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I mean, that's all I would like to say to T Duck is we're agreeing with him. I
Yes,
think.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
I think he may have gone now, but yes,
mm,
it's a paradox. It's something of great interest to me, and I hope not from a sort of mawkish or morbid sense, but to me, it's really important. This is the world my kids are growing up in, and this is the world I live in, and my family lives in, and I want it to. I want it to be the beautiful world that we know is possible, despite
yeah,
all of this, the intensity of what seems to be going on at the moment.
yeah, 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 yeah. I just want to say as well, just on another sort of topic change.
Yes,
Have you heard about the nationality, uh, the kind of the debate over the nationality law change? Because
I
I'm gonna
the agenda,
I'm
isn't
gonna
it?
put
Yeah,
I'm gonna put a video up later because they were talking about. Everyone knows they were supposed to discuss it later on this month, but it
mm.
already seems to have been kicked down the can to late October.
Yeah.
Has anyone else heard anything about that?
No, I haven't heard that specifically. Oh, it's yeah. I'm not. Gilda is my go-to on this sort of thing. I spoke to her last week. She was back in properly on the you're talking about these matters on our town hall dream team session last night with Expats Portugal. It's a premium lounge tonight, but we'll be able to pick it up again. And I think there'll be more to say next week on that. But I wouldn't be surprised. This is what we're expecting, isn't it? This is going to be kicked down the street.
Yeah, yeah, and there's also some rumours about it being ordered down to 6 years for everyone, which I'd be, I
Yeah.
wouldn't worry me because I'm very busy actually, right? Because I was thinking, what my problem is with the thing is the timing, um, because it coincides with having to renew my what do you call it? What's the other thing we've got? Residency.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to have to do both applications at the same time. which it seems like you'd have to, right?
Mm.
That seems like a bit of a problem to me.
Yes, well, we're keen to know how that pans out for you.
Yeah.
I don't think you're alone in that, and a lot of this is being made up as we go along, right?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like in a way, if they kicked it down the road for a year, I might not have too much of a problem with that. But anyway, let's see what happens. But yeah,
And it might be
as always, there's no guarantees about anything, is there?
no, quite. Yes, which again brings us back to our how we choose to, perhaps we can end on this note, Tony, is where we position ourselves, what our point of view is, what our perspective is on life, and what our aspiration is in how we might live our lives. And given that all we've talked about, I wish you well. I'm glad to see you're well and wandering about the streets of your locality, getting up nice and early in the morning, and as best as you can, living and celebrating life. I'm glad to see that. I think that's what's occurring in front of our very eyes here.
Absolutely. We were supposed to talk about how you're doing.
Were we?
That seems
that's
to.
right. You were turning the tables, weren't you, today?
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that next time.
Well, I tell you what, just as a brief, it carries on from all that we've been talking about, and what I've been endeavouring to articulate this morning is that I think it's really important for those people who can to speak of the beauty of life, to say that life is good because it is, and miracles are possible, and we're learning how to have that happen for ourselves, in the most extraordinary times for humanity, it would appear. And I will keep doing that in my own way. I will make mistakes. It doesn't always go as I expected or planned, but you can't. It's like nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? You can't.
Yeah, 100%.
We're figuring this out as we go, and my invitation is for people to see this as a space in which we can be together realistically, vulnerably, authentically, and sometimes that's going to get a bit difficult, but our intention, our aim is ever upward, right? That's what you're asking me about. Me, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
If that means switching off and dialing back for a couple of weeks or whatever, then I can do that too.
So be it. And we'll hopefully be here. We'll be here if anyone needs to do that, and when they come back. Okay, so 80-20 is how Adrian sees it. At least 80% positive is essential for enjoyable, peaceful life.
Yeah.
And we're all in
Absolutely.
charge of our perspective as well, aren't we? We've only got that really in the end, is our own perspective on things, and it's up to us to keep that nice and clear and clean and beautiful, if we can possibly do that. So, and Matty's saying, in my humble opinion, always better to focus on the positive and good things than to dwell on the negative and bad things. Yep, that makes some sense as well. And it was, in case you still haven't got that joke, maybe Tony can finish this for us this morning, because Matty was struggling a little bit with this, Tony. Stallone, Statham, and Schwarzenegger are discussing making a movie. You know where this is going already, Tony, about composers. Can you do your impersonations of Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, and ultimately Arnold Schwarzenegger for us? So Statham says, "I'll be Mozart." Can you do your Jason Statham, because you actually look like him?
Jason Statham. I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay. He's a handsome, rugged geezer like yourself who says, "I'll be Mozart." Stallone says, "I'll be Beethoven."
Is he from Fast and Furious?
I think so. Yeah, he's one of those British geezers who trades
Well,
on being a bit.
but I knew who he was just from you talking. So that's obviously your bit.
Very good. Okay, so do you want to be Sylvester Stallone saying, "I'll be Beethoven" then?
I'll be back. I can't do a Sylvester Stallone. Why can't I do Arnie?
I'll be Beethoven. I'll be Beethoven. I've done that for you.
You want to do Schwarzenegger, don't you? I'll be back.
No, I don't. I want you to. I want you to finish with the classic line of that dad joke. Finish it for us, Tony, please.
I'll be back.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
we're still laughing for some reason, it would appear. Hey,